thanks for coming down. They'll be leading the march later on this afternoon. Now, the first speaker I'd want to introduce to you is Gabriel Shipton. That's Julian Assange's brother. He's been following this case. He's been leading the campaigning internationally and especially in Australia. Gabriel, tell us what's been going on this morning.
Hey everyone, thanks again for coming out and braving the weather. An amazing turnout again. It's sort of a bit embarrassing watching the prosecutors in there trying to tell us that day was night and night was day. That Chelsea Manning's not a whistleblower and Julian's not a journalist. They really just brought absolute shame to that court and to the United Kingdom justice system. And this case remains a stain on the US, a stain on the UK, and both governments should be absolutely ashamed of it and what they're doing to press freedom and our rights. Because what was going on in there is the prosecutors telling us blowing is a threat to democracy. Our right to know is a threat to democracy. So shame on them and free Julian Assange.
Free Julian Assange!
Thanks very much, Gabriel. Now, the next speaker really is a pleasure to introduce. I met him a couple of years back when he was the first Australian MP to come across to Britain to visit Julian Assange in Belmarsh. We met with British parliamentarians at that time. But since that visit, he has been central to the transformation of Australian politics on the question of Julian Assange, campaigning relentlessly until there is not only cross-party support for Julian Assange, but the whole of the Australian Parliament saying what the world knows to be true, and that is enough in the case of Julian Assange. Please give a huge London welcome to Andrew Wilkie MP.
Who remembers collateral murder?
Yes, we do.
Who can forget that grainy black and white image of an American attack helicopter gunning down innocent Iraqis and Reuters journalists? Who can remember that?
Yeah!
And we have this madness that the man who told the truth, who provided hard evidence of US war crimes, he's the one in front of a court. It should have been the pilots of that helicopter.
Yay!
But some common sense has broken out. At least now the Australian Parliament has finally voted. The Australian Prime Minister has finally stood up and given a clear, strong signal to the Americans that enough is enough. Regardless of what you think of Julian, this matter must be brought to an end. The extradition must be dropped. The charges must be dropped. He must be busted out of Belmarsh. He must be allowed to be reunited with his family.
Yeah!
Because Julian Assange is the hero here, not the villain.
Now, astoundingly, through all this time, despite the imprisonment of Julian Assange, WikiLeaks has continued to do its work. And its editor-in-chief is Christian Hafenson. He's been following this case as well as keeping the reporting alive. Please give him a warm welcome.
It was absolutely amazing to be in the courtroom this morning. I was not in the actual courtroom yesterday, but in a side room where I couldn't hear anything. Now I was in the actual courtroom and I still couldn't hear anything. But so at least you're getting closer and you can see the reaction from the two judges and you see the backhead of the lawyer representing the US government. So what was he putting forth there? Absolutely nothing new. It was, as we were offered to lunch on leftover smorgasbord from last month. We've heard it all before, and it's all been refuted, not just in the courtrooms, but with new evidence that was totally disregarded. So they had nothing new to offer but the old arguments that have been refuted. But what was interesting this morning is that the judges were paying attention and they were asking questions. Is it really true that Julian will not get a First Amendment protection when he is extradited? Etc., etc. At least we have the attention, thanks to you probably. They know that they need to scrutinize this and the arguments put forth. And the arguments were thin. Of course, we shouldn't be here because it's been disputed everything that the Americans have been putting forth in this case. The day will continue. We will, of course, fight on. There is a glimpse of hope in the courts here. Let's not abandon that. Let's stay on that. Let's stay on the shift, on the watch. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for supporting Julian Assange. Let's free him. Let's free Assange now.
It really is an outstanding view from up here. I wish you could all see yourselves. It's a fantastic turnout. I actually think that the crowd today is bigger than we were yesterday. I hope you're all ready to march this afternoon at the end of the court hearing. So stay around and get ready to march later this afternoon. And remember, all that's being asked for here is a full hearing in a high court. There has been no full hearing of the Assange case except in a magistrate's court. Now, a magistrate's court in this country is the lowest court. It's the court that you go to if you have a parking ticket, if you have a speeding fine. That's the level of case that is normally heard in a magistrate's court. They do not and should not be the final judges of the most important civil liberties case of the 21st century. And leading the campaign to make sure that that is not the case, that it is not left to the judgment of a single lowly magistrate, has been Julian Assange's wife, Stella Assange.
Stella, we love you. Everybody loves you.
How pathetic the US case is.
Yes.
They have to rely on lies.
Yes.
And then the prosecutors say, don't question these lies because that would offend our ally. 14 years on, all they can do is repeat the lies from the very first Pentagon press conference talking points sheet. What they're trying to argue is that state secrets trump revealing state crimes.
No.
This is the balance they're trying to shift. They want impunity, they don't want to be scrutinized, and journalism stands in the way. And in that courtroom, they are having to make their position increasingly clear. They have to admit that what they're doing is criminalizing journalism, is criminalizing the truth.
Shame.
Yeah.
Lawyers. Lawyers.
They are liars, they are criminals,
Yeah.
and they are persecuting the journalist who exposed them.
Hey. Hey.
Julian is a truth teller, he is a political prisoner. And the world is watching these courts and how they deal with this case. Please be here and come and march to Downing Street after the proceedings are over this afternoon. Thank you.
We are with you. We will be with you. Free Julian Assange! Free Julian Assange!
And there is now no better person to tell you about why that should be the case than Julian Assange's father, John Shipton.
John, fantastic.
Oh, lovely guy.
What a fantastic crowd. But just a few things. Sorry? Just a few things. Julian has spent in one form of incarceration and another over 14 years.
Oh dear.
Julian has spent over 14 years in one form of incarceration or another. Are you good with that?
No.
No!
No.
All of Julian's human rights suspended. Are you good with that?
No.
Due process abuse after abuse. Are you good with that?
No.
No!
Over 25 court cases in one form or another for an innocent man. No charges laid. Are you good with that?
No!
I just want to thank you all for coming and thank you for your strength and understanding, as I do, that all genius ascends from the people, ascends from us upward. And it is us, in the manifestation of the Australian Parliament, declaring that Julian Assange must be brought home, has shown our courage manifested in the parliamentary declaration. Is that not magnificent? See you this afternoon for the march.
Woo! Hey!
Lovely job. Thank you.
Free Julian Assange! Free Julian Assange! Free Julian Assange! Free Julian Assange! Free Julian Assange!
Okay, folks, now this afternoon, as we've said repeatedly, there's the march. Please stay around from that. I see many friends here who I know have been campaigning, as I have been, to stop the slaughter in Gaza. And many of you have asked me about the timings of the demonstration this evening, where there's going to be a ceasefire vote in the House of Commons. Now, that's been moving backwards and forwards all day, but the latest intelligence that I have about that is that the vote will be around 7 o'clock this evening, and the protest will start shortly after we've ended our protest down in Richmond Terrace opposite Downing Street. So if those of you who want to join both, please stay here, march with us, and you should be down in time to join the Palestine protest as well. So that we stand for freedom of the press, that we stand for freedom of speech, and that people like him and his counterparts in the United States ought to be the ones who are standing trial and not Julian Assange.